Welcome to today's lesson, which is about decimal points in products. The goal of today's lesson is that you can use place value and fractions to reason about where to place the decimal point when you multiply a decimal number by another decimal number. Let's start off with a 2 multiplied by 10, and we know that that is 20. And if you look at the decimal point here, you'll see that it has moved one digit to the right when it was multiplied by 10. So when you multiply by 10, move the decimal point one digit to the right. Now let's look at 2 multiplied by 0.10, and that's equivalent to 2 multiplied by 1/10, because 1/10 is the fraction equivalent of 0.10, and multiplying by 1/10 is the equivalent of dividing by 10. And 2 divided by 10 is 0.2. And we can see that when we divided by 10, the decimal point was moved one digit to the left. So dividing, move one digit left. And when you're multiplying, move a digit to the right. Let's look at multiplying and dividing by 100. So 100 is 10 times 10. So 75.936. If we multiply by 10, we move the decimal point one digit to after the 9. And if we multiply by 10 again, because 10 times 10 is 100, it moves the second digit over here. And so we've got 7593.6. So you can see that you moved right, but when you multiplied by 100, you moved 2 digits right. So let's look at 75.936 multiplied by 0.01. That's equivalent to multiplying by 1/100th, and that's equivalent to dividing by 100. And we're going to move to the left, and 100 is equivalent to 10 times 10. So we'll move 1 2 times to the left, because we're dividing by 10 and dividing by 10 again. And we'll get 0.75936. So there are different expressions you can write to represent a decimal multiplication problem. So here we have 5 or 0.5, times 0.75, and that's equivalent to 5 multiplied by 0.1, and then multiplied by 75 times 0.01, because it's 75/100ths, and that's equivalent to 5 multiplied by 0.1 is 1/10, and multiplied by 75 times 1/100th. And we can change the order of these. We have 5 times 75 times 1/10 times 1/100th is 10 times 100 is 1000. And that's equivalent to 5 times 75 divided by 1000. So 5 times 75 is 375, and 1000 is 10 times 10 times 10. So we will move the decimal point 3 places to the left. So 375, the decimal point is here. So move it 3 digits to the left, 1, 2, 3, and we will get 0.375. So those are different expressions you can use to help you get to the solution of 0.5 times 0.75. You can do decimal multiplication using fractions. So you have 0.7, which is 7/10, times 0.05, which is 5/100. which is equivalent to 7 times 5 is 35, divided by 10 times 100 is 1000. And we know that 1000 is 10 times 10 times 10. So we're going to take our decimal place and move it to the left 3 times. Divide by 10. Divide by 10 again, that's 100th. We've got to move it one more place. We've got to put a 0 here. Our decimal point will go here. 0.3035 is the answer, having used fractions to help us decide where to put the decimal point. So to summarize, when we write decimals in fraction form, that can help us determine where to place the decimal point in the product. So you saw today how to use place value and fractions to reason about where to place the decimal point when you multiply a decimal number by another decimal number. And that's the end of today's lesson.